Gina is up and out well before me, so she starts the coffee. She often leaves me a cuppa as an enticement to raise myself from the dead. She lets Luna out for a morning security stroll through the neighbors' gardens, inspecting the birds and butterflies like the proper quality control technician that she is. Good job, Luna. Alright, so this is me, just an ordinary girl from Dagenham. Mornings aren't really my thing. In my defense, I was up late last night coding. Nice graphic there. Luna and me are like a power team. I code while she inspects the keyboard and waits until I'm finished with it. I wonder what she dreams about. Where? Mind-blowing. Knobby bits going through ring fins. Luna's been into the catnip again, I would say. Should probably mention Alex right about now. We were mates back at uni. He landed a job in Edinburgh doing database management and AI server infrastructure. On his way, a brilliant systems engineer. He has a real knack for upgrading legacy Haskell code to the latest modern frameworks, a skill very much in demand right now. Working out in Silicon Valley of late, we keep in touch. I text him probably once a week to pester him when his team loses and to ask him if he's fallen for one of those buxom California girls yet. He laughs and asks me how Mia and Gina are getting on. Never been better. Gina works for the NHS visiting care homes throughout the area, always helping people get back on their feet. When I let myself go too long without eating, she's right on time with the takeaway. Gina is so caring. I've been helping out some of the locals with their computer issues and practicing some new languages, and oh boy, it takes me right back to my younger school days. Thank you, Mrs. Solper, my Italian teacher, for trying your best. Your efforts were not in vain. Just wanted to get this out there and introduce myself. I'll try to keep in touch. So much to tell you. Cheers.
Westmore has one of the most renowned computer labs going. With a scholarship confirmed, my parents were over the moon. I was a very busy lad, floating between lectures, data center trips, and nightly debugging sessions. And now, 4 years later, I was in my final year at Westmore, with only a few months until my July commencement. Got a conditional offer for postgrad. If I keep my marks up through finals, I'm in. Proper chuffed, really. A hybrid program. Bit of systems engineering, bit of network infrastructure. The kind you funnel straight into the consultancy firms or banking networks. Not bad, eh? My future was speeding toward me like a lorry full of mobile phones. So, I was polishing up my online repository, rehearsing for my dissertation, handing in papers and lingering in the library. In the month of May, my ex-girlfriend Sophie popped by to do some catching up, and she mentioned that she was heading to a startup in California, and that she would put in a good word for me there. Well, now I could say I had 2 really good offers at the top of my list. I felt on top of the world, and nothing nor anyone could shake it. Lola claims she spied me first in the study hall, a few times, before introducing herself.
There's that powerful grip.
See, I was stuck on this one part of my second year final project. This complex infrastructure thingy I could not get working. I managed to get a few minutes of his time to explain the problem I was having. He asked me to re-examine certain parts of my code, and then I suddenly realized that there were a few things I had left out. And just like that, it worked.
To celebrate, I asked Lola out for a pint in the town, that I knew just the place.
I was so flattered, and I have so much respect for Alex. I turned it round and asked if he would like to attend a Shakespeare play instead. My girlfriend Sujin would be performing at the theatre and he should see her. Sujin, who was here on exchange in the performing arts programme to immerse herself in Shakespeare's England. I was taken by her rendition of Lady Macbeth with her soft Busan accent. I'd been showing her around town. Aside from netball, she was a breath of fresh air after almost 9 months of non-stop computer classes. I told Alex that I was the happiest I'd been in the longest while, so I cherished every moment I had with her. And sorry, but my heart belonged to Sujin.
Well, that was it, wasn't it?
For Alex and me, it felt like we'd unlocked some sort of bonus level.
After the show wrapped, we all headed out, and I picked up the tab for their dinner to honor Sujin, and we all had a round. Felt like the least I could do. None of us were prepared for what happened next.
It was around this time that we started hearing about strange data coming in from the machine learning study groups.
Yeah, weird stuff. Sudden spikes in my colleagues' wet market analysis. And symptomatic sampling in Asia going haywire.
I did my best to ensure that the school's computer systems were running properly.
And then it fell upon us as sudden as a tempest from a clear sky. In mid-June, Sujin received word that several members of her family, including her maternal grandfather, had passed away, without warning, all succumbing to the same acute viral lung infection and pneumonia, eerily similar to what our data was showing us. I could only imagine what her family must have been going through.
It was early days. Grief. In data science, grief was a data point. In a typical spreadsheet, there is no column for feeling the warmth of a loved one's hand in yours as they pull it away to leave.
Sujin's mum arranged for her flight out of Heathrow. And before we had barely enough time to say goodbye, she flew away and out of my life. I went home to Raynham for the weekend and could not help but worry for her. We had only just started and now she was gone.
At this point, our school year had less than a fortnight to go, and Lola was down and out on our final lap.
You don't win every match, Lo, but you get up. You always get up. And that's the bit I care about. Not how hard you fell, but how fast you get your footing again. That's our game.
Ragazzi, prepariamoci per la prossima scena. Azione tra poco.
Dai, 5 minuti! Scegliamola adesso, prima che ci salti la luce!
Ok, Marco, tu sei Giovanni e sei appena sposato.
Quindi, sono infelice.
No, sei felice. Felice.
La scimmia mi dà fastidio. Qual è la mia battuta?
Non preoccuparti, la scimmia è addestrata meglio di te.
E quanto manca? Ho fame. E quando si mangia?
Tieni, prendi questo.
Testa era in tasca tua?
Meglio della mensa. E lei non si lamenta mai.
He could eat the entire catering truck. I've seen him. Always have little nuts in your pockets working with Marco.
Ah ah. Mi sento svenire. Sarà nel furgone.
Siediti sul muretto, stanno quasi per cominciare.
Sometimes I get so bored between takes. My imagination runs off without me. Like a horse with no driver. That's me in the wagon, with the horse and the villa. I wish I was a Sopa, with all that money and power. I wonder what he was really like. Maybe being in this film will open some doors for me. The last film I did was pretty good. The director was an ex-helicopter pilot who really knew his stuff, and that's how I landed this role. Playing opposite what? So maybe this movie will lead to something bigger for me.
In posizione! Ultima ripresa della giornata!
nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritus Sancti.